It all started when a girl named Tomo Aizawa admitted that she was in love with Junichiro Kubota, but he didn't take her words seriously because he didn't even perceive her as a girl. Tomo studied karate, and she and Kubota had been friends since childhood. Tomo told her friend Misuzu Gundo about everything, and she told her that Tomo was to blame. After all her life she showed herself to be more masculine and almost never showed femininity. Misuzu advised Tomo to speak more femininely and act the same. But Kubota still did not take the girl seriously, and because of this, the friends even quarreled. The next day, Tomo went to lunch with Misuzu and she advised Tomo to have lunch with Kubota as it would help them get closer. But they went to dinner together anyway. How might everyone around think that Kubota and Tomo are dating? There was an awkward moment that didn't help move their relationship forward. After lunch, a classmate approached Kubota and asked how long he had been playing sports with Tomo, but the guy didn't mean sports at all. Kubota took his question literally and said that almost since childhood. Misuzu heard everything and after the lesson told the guy that he misunderstood Kubota. When the friends were walking home, it started to rain outside. Kubota was waiting for Tomo while he was talking to Misuzu and she asked what this guy would do if Tomo started dating someone. He did not answer and the girl began to provoke the guy to answer, to which he slightly pushed her out of anger. When Tomo arrived, Misuzu pushed her to go under Kubota's umbrella, to which the girl reluctantly agreed. And another guy suggested that Misuzu go with an umbrella, but she just took the umbrella from him and went alone. The next day, Tomo was at training, where she became friends with a guy, Kasuke Misaki, who liked Tomo. They were leaving the section together when they were noticed by two girls who were in love with Misaki. They got angry with Tomo and later even called Tomo to talk. But she reacted aggressively and then the girls realized that it was better not to mess with Tomo. Misuzu found out about this and told Tomo to talk to the girls and stop threatening them. When they met, the girl tried to behave as decently as possible, and when she heard the reason for the conflict, she immediately became kinder and talked to them. The whole next day she was incredibly happy with her new acquaintance. One day, Kubota and Tomo were traveling on a train and Tomo was riding while standing. The man came up behind her and started touching her. The girl wanted to hit him, but for some reason she acted constrained. Kubota noticed all this and stood up for Tomo. When they were walking down the street, the guy suggested that the girl should no longer wear skirts, for which she hit the guy in the face. When Tomo told Misuzu everything, she was at first worried, and then said that most likely the guy just wanted to protect her from other men. Tomo said that the skirt was looser and she was also wearing shorts. But Misuzu still persuaded Tomo to wear only a skirt and the girl came to school in this form. This made Kubota feel pointlessly awkward being around her all day, and he even felt like all the guys were looking at Tomo. As they walked home, the wind blew and Tomo's skirt rode up, making Kubota feel even more awkward and he passed out. The girl told Misuzu everything and said that she would never wear a skirt without shorts again. There was a girl at their school named Carol, and all the boys loved her. Misuzu said that this was due to her femininity and vulnerability. One day Tomo was walking down the corridor and met Misaki there, who was walking with this girl. Carol was not happy about Tomo's appearance and throughout the following days she periodically came and called Tomo names. Tomo herself did not understand this behavior. She later approached Misuzu and started asking about Tomo's weaknesses. Naturally, Misuzu didn't just tell everything, but she also used Carol for her own purposes to help Tomo and Kubota get closer. Carol asked the guy to teach her self-defense since she has an enemy that she wants to destroy. Defeat, but she didn't say who it was. When Tomo saw them together, she ran away and Misuzu advised Tomo to follow them. When the guy taught Carol to fight, Tomo ran up and demanded an explanation. But then Carol saw Tomo's reaction and immediately said that she was no longer at enmity with Tomo since she had already seen her reaction. It was Misuzu's plan to make Tomo jealous and teach her to sense danger. Over tea, Carol and Misuzu talked and the girl said that Tomo is friends with everyone who turns to her. Even though Carol offended Tomo, she still approached and offered Tomo friendship, and she accepted without hesitation, as did Misuzu herself. This surprised Carol, since she doesn't really have any friends and no one has ever wanted to be Carol's friend. So the girls became friends. Kubota then accidentally let it slip that he dated Misuzu in middle school. This angered Tomo, and she ran to ask her friend about it. She said that they actually met, but only for 3 days. Characters and interests did not coincide. She realized this when the guy invited her to go for a walk and behaved as actively as possible when Misuzu behaved more calmly. A couple of times later, she came to Kubota to announce their separation, but he beat her to it and suggested breaking up. On the way home they met Misaki. Kubota was unhappy with this meeting and reacted very aggressively. Later they both had to go in the same direction. On the train, Kubota praised Tomo a lot, and Misaki noticed this and invited him to join their karate club. But he said that Tomo fights better and he doesn't want to lose to her. After the conversation, the guy did not fight with Misaki, but made a promise that he would not tell about what Kubota thought about Tomo. After class, Kubota invited Tomo to go home together, but she refused and said that her friends had called her and she would be busy, so they will have to see each other the next one day. Misuzu and Tomo went into a cafe where those girls who were in love with Misaki were sitting and discussing Tomo. But Tomo saw them and approached them. She was dressed in men's clothes. The girls ran away when they saw her, and Tomo was surprised by this. Misuzu said that it was because of her behavior and appearance. She then asked where she and Kubota usually go. Tomo replied that they haven't been going out much lately and only communicate at school. Misuzu said that if Tomo herself invites the guy somewhere, he will be incredibly happy. The girl did so, and Kubota was indeed very happy about her initiative. Misuzu and Carol began preparing Tomo for a date and first of all advised the girl to go somewhere romantic, such as karaoke or a park. Before Tomo left, the girls went to a clothing store and chose an outfit for her, not too feminine, but not too masculine. When they met, the guy was a little surprised by her new look, but didn't say anything. They were having fun as usual, and the girl felt that something was wrong, because dating usually doesn't go like that. After the games, she invited the guy to go to karaoke and he immediately agreed. Since childhood, on her initiative, they learned something new and he simply could not refuse her. So he decided that karaoke would add variety to their lives. As a result, the date ended with Tomo simply performing children's songs and the guy simply filmed her. The next day, the girls even asked him to make a video of her singing, but Tomo got angry and chased them. And Kubota noticed that Tomo behaved completely differently that day. Tatsum Tanabe noticed that Misuzu never showed emotion. He asked Kubota if he had seen her smile, and he answered positively, although the girl was actually completely calm. Then Tomo noticed that she never acted like a girl with her friends. She also wanted to show more emotions, tenderness, and tactility. Misuzu refused to hug her, but Carol didn't mind. Tomo felt new emotions and what it was like to understand a girl. Misuzu then asked Tomo why she doesn't hug Kubota since he is her best friend. But Tomo said that she had never even thought about it and it seemed quite strange. But the guy himself hugs the girl from behind every time, so there's nothing wrong with that. Tomo chose the moment and unexpectedly hugged the guy from behind. He pushed her away and was very surprised by her actions. He told her not to do that again and that only he could attack her from behind. Tomo didn't agree with this, so she argued with him. The next day, these girls approached Tomo and asked her for a favor. One of the girls was on a date where she met a guy who took advantage of the girl's feelings. He was also a hooligan and had his own gang of the same hooligans. Therefore, Tomo came to the girl's defense. When this guy saw Tomo, he didn't take her seriously as a rival. But after he was rude to one of the girls, Tomo hit the man with all her might. After that, this guy gathered his friends and told them everything. For this they wanted to take revenge on the girl. Kubota overheard their conversation, and when they said what they would do to Tomo, Kubota came up and kicked the bully. The guys immediately prepared for a fight, as did Kubota himself. When Tomo was leaving school, she noticed a group of guys there and decided that they were waiting for revenge from her. But instead they began to ask her for forgiveness. She told Kubota about it and said that it was all strange, but she liked the end result. She also noticed that Kubota also had abrasions and a bandage on his face, but the guy said that he just fell. Carol invited Tomo and Misuzu to visit, and the girls spent a long time looking for the entrance to her house. On the way, Carol's mother met them and took them to her home, where Carol was waiting. Carol's mother and Carol herself were very similar. The girl tried to hug Misuzu and win over Misuzu, but the girl did not want to come closer. In the room they drank tea and talked. Later they played games and Misuzu was sure that she would win because she never loses. But this time the girl lost to Carol. At school, Tomo remembered that tomorrow was an exam and he urgently needed preparation. Misuzu offered to prepare her friend for the exam in a day. Kubota immediately offered to help, but Misuzu announced that she was in first place in academic performance among high school students, while the guy was only in his 30s. When Misuzu's mother came home, she thought that her daughter had a boyfriend. But in the room she saw her friends. The woman's personality was similar to her daughter's, judging by her reaction to Carol's desire to be tactile. Tomo managed to improve her studies and ended up in 70th place in academic performance. Misuzu thought she was in first place as usual, but she ended up in second. Kubota invited Tomo to a sleepover so they could play games together until it got dark. The parents easily let Tomo go, and when the girl approached the guy, he said that the parents had left them alone. This confused Tomo, but she expected everything to go well. The question of when she would go to the shower confused the girl, but she still had to go there. When she came out, the guy sat embarrassed and silent. Then they played video games and had a good time. After a few games they started fooling around and then they noticed that the guy was standing over the girl. Kubota immediately changed the subject and they agreed to play some more. After 10 in the evening they felt that they really wanted to sleep, although they agreed to play until late. When they lay down, the guy asked the girl how long all this would last. When the girl tried to answer him, he did not answer her and seemed to be sleeping. Tomo sat down next to him and began to examine his face and touch him. She pinched his nose and watched his reaction. When he couldn't take it anymore, he grabbed the girl and pulled her towards him. She couldn't get out of it and fell asleep in that position. The next morning they woke up and were surprised at the position in which they woke up. For about a week they walked tensely and were embarrassed by each other's presence. It was Tomo's birthday, and Kubota gave the girl sunglasses. Curl brought a gold bar to school and gave it to Tomo. It was difficult for the girl to accept this gift because it was very expensive. At home, the girls decided to try to make Tomo a feminine girl. They did her makeup, chose clothes and a wig. She was very embarrassed, but in this form she had to go to the store for ice cream. There she accidentally met Kubota and was very confused when she saw him. But he did not recognize the girl and did not pay attention. When Tomo was leaving the store, she fell. Kubota then came over and helped her up. It seemed to him that her face was very similar to Tomo, but he did not believe that it was her. After all, Tomo never wears makeup or dresses. Tomo asked to go with her when Kubota began to leave and a small dialogue took place between them. He communicated with her differently than usual. They reached a clearing where they saw children playing football. The guy asked what would happen to the boy and girl who were playing in the future. Tomo replied that they could make a good couple, and Kubota began to tell the girl about his best friend. He mentioned that he would like to get closer and defeat her as a rival, but he remembered that the girl was buying ice cream and asked about it. Tomo remembered that it was time for her to go, got up and quickly ran away. The girls celebrated their birthday and Tomo told them what happened. One day they had a dodgeball competition, and Tomo and Kubota ended up on the same team. They learned that the opponents would be the same guys from the gang of hooligans. When they found out that there would be a girl on their opposing team, they laughed. But then they saw Tomo and got scared. During the game, everything was going well, but then a huge strong guy stepped in front of them and invited Kubota to join them for karate lessons if Kubota lost to him. The guy threw the ball with all his might and knocked out all the weaker opponents. Tomo and Kubota were furious about this. When the guy threw the ball towards Tomo, Kubota immediately stood in front of her and stopped the ball from hitting her. She was angry with her enemy and intended to take revenge on him for her friend. She threw the ball at the guy with all her might, but it hit the guys who were standing behind and they were able to throw the ball at the enemy and attack him. Their team won and received a prize. After all the events, this guy even invited Kubota to karate sparring. After the fight they had a heart-to-heart talk. Kubota stated that he is fluent in the art of wrestling and is quite strong physically, but all this was just to win and keep up with Tomo. When he walked home with the girl, he thought to himself that he did not even expect that she would give a pass and hope for the help of others. He thought she could do everything herself. As a child, Kubota moved away from Tokyo and the city where Tomo lived. He was playing video games when she came up and asked him for a game console, but she broke it, for which the boy hit the girl in the face. But it seemed to her that this was not enough and she deserved more punishment. Then the girl's father found out about this and also asked for his forgiveness, which is how he met the girl's parents. The next day, they went together to catch the bugs and took Masuzu with them, whose character had not changed over the years. The guy tried to keep up with the girl in many ways, and at first he didn't succeed because she was ahead and stronger everywhere. But over time, he became more energetic and confident. One day he was sitting on a bench playing games. The hooligans approached him and forcibly took away his game console. When Tom asked him why he had scratches, the boy replied that he just fell. One day a girl brought him a game console and said that it was just lying on the road. The boy guessed that she had taken the game console from the bullies and said that she should not have done that. But Tomo said that she would always come to the rescue if needed. The guy gave this game console to Tomo and said that he would take it back when he became stronger than her. 10 years passed and he really became stronger, but he never picked up a game console. Summer has arrived and friends are getting ready to go to the beach. Tomo was embarrassed by Kubota's presence. Already on the beach, the girls changed their clothes and left the locker room. Tomo didn't want to go out and just stood behind the wall. When Kubota approached and tried to pull her out, he first made sure that the girl was wearing clothes. But she still went to the beach in a swimsuit and the girls began to frolic in the water. At some point, a guy came up to Tomo and said that she was very cute. Tomo liked the compliment, but when he called her somewhere away from the beach, she immediately became wary. Kubota approached them and stood up for Tomo, after which the guy fell behind. Masuzu told Tomo to stay close to him to get his attention, and that's all it took. Every time Tomo touched the guy, he immediately went numb and felt different than before. The friends played together and according to the rules of the game, Tomo had to fulfill Masuzu's wish. The girl wished that she would go to the festival with Kubota, just the two of them. Tomo invited the guy to the festival and, surprisingly, he agreed calmly, and not as usual. Tomo came to the festival in a kimono and this really embarrassed Kubota because she was dressed in feminine clothes. Masuzu and Carol were somewhere nearby, watching them. He didn't even let some guy hit on Tomo even though they weren't a couple. As they approached the hill where the fireworks were being set off, Tomo decided that now was the time to confess her feelings once again. But then she quickly changed her mind as she felt that it was too early to move forward, and they just looked at the fireworks. The next day, Tomo told everything about how it happened, and the girls noticed that they were no longer the same as before. Misuzu kept thinking about what would happen to them all later. After all, someday they will have to grow up and make an informed choice. Meanwhile, this gang of hooligans were discussing the fact that they had been bored lately and wanted to get revenge for everything on Tomo. They saw Misuzu walking down the street alone and came up with a plan. They stopped the girl and wanted to take her away, but Carol approached them and tried to help her friend. But Misuzu said that Carol was just a classmate and they had nothing in common. Carol approached the gang leader and hit him with a stun gun. While he was lying on the ground, Misuzu grabbed Carol's hand and they began to run away, but Carol fell into a puddle along the way. And yet they managed to escape, but the hooligans began to look for them following their wet footprints. The girls hid and Misuzu called Kubota for help, but Tomo didn't say anything. The guy did just that, but he couldn't hide this truth from Tomo because she felt that something was wrong. So they went together to save their friends. There, Carol reminded Misuzu that the girl said that she and Carol were not friends. But Misuzu admitted that she said this so as not to drag Carol into these problems and she would not be in any danger. But at that moment the hooligans discovered them and intended to attack. But Tomo approached them from behind and the bully was disarmed. While Tomo and Kubota dealt with their opponents, Misaki followed in their tracks and followed them. He found Carol changing because her clothes were dirty. He decided that the bullies had done something bad to her and became furious, so he attacked the last bully of the gang. But then Carol told what happened to her and the conflict was resolved. Misuzu talked to this guy alone and showed her authority in front of this bully. Misaki studied all the time and had no friends. But one day Carol was brought to visit them and he fell in love with her at first sight. They spent all their time together. Then the guy went to study martial arts to become stronger. There the teacher saw in his eyes a strong spirit hidden deep within. Misaki was supposed to fight Kubota, and the guy noticed that his opponent was hitting with full force. Even Tomo, he did not use such a striking technique. In general, Misaki lost the battle and woke up in Tomo's room, where she came to her senses. Tomo asked the guy why he is becoming stronger and for Carol. It was all like this and Misaki said that he always dreamed of becoming stronger for her sake because she is a clumsy girl and rather fragile. He told Carol about what happened to him and she asked him how the guy felt about Tomo. He said that he admires her and wants to be like her because she is very strong and energetic. Carol started to get jealous and so she came to Kubota and invited him to go for a walk. He was not happy about this, but still the girl convinced him. She was caught doing this by Misuzu, who sensed that something was wrong. But Carol said that Misuzu can't control everyone, and Carol left. Kubota and Carol went to the park to watch the game and talked there. The girl said that he likes someone, but not everything is going so smoothly for her. So Kubota agreed to take a walk with her. But it so happened that they ended up in Kubota's house and their Carol began to show tactility and tenderness. This scared the guy, but it was part of his plan. Carol asked him why he was talking to girls for so long, including Tomo, although the guy treats her completely differently. In the end, he just ran up to Tomo, hugged her and began to ask her for forgiveness many times. And then Carol came and apologized to them. She told all this to Misuzu and she realized that Carol was not an ordinary girl and was very insidious. Misuzu knew that Misaki had a crush on Carol and decided to help him confess his love to her. The guy said that he never saw her weak or in a vulnerable position, she always reacted calmly to everything. Therefore, Misuzu took a desperate step, she needed to stir up Carol. She talked to Carol and told the girl that Misaki did not perceive Carol as a girl and did not feel anything for her. After all, earlier Carol tried to make Misaki jealous. Carol then stood up, reacted differently than usual, and ran home from class. Misuzu came to Misaki and told him to quickly run home to Carol since she felt terrible for even running home. When the guy came to her, Carol's mother met him and slapped him in the face, but still allowed him to come to Carol. He found the girl crying and this surprised him very much since he had never seen her cry. Misaki supported the girl, now he could behave like a man. He admitted to Carol that this was all planned, and thus they were able to confess their feelings to each other. The next day, Carol even thanked Misuzu for everything that happened, because now they were able to get closer. There was a running competition at school and Tomo and Kubota had been waiting for this for a long time. When the competition began, the guy and girl ran forward like everyone else. But Misuzu and Carol walked slowly, not caring about the competition. Tomo and Kubota competed at full strength and tried to beat each other. Tomo even skipped a turn to compete with Kubota. As they ran back, Tomo fell on the road and Kubota stopped. He felt that she had a strong fever and the girl did not have the strength to run. He carried her to the aid station, where she remained until the end of the competition. Misuzu said that Kubota took first place. When the guy came again, Misuzu decided to leave and finally told Tomo that this was her chance to become defenseless so that Kubota would take care of her. Therefore, when it was time to go home, Tomo asked the guy to carry her in his arms to the car, although she could already walk. He visited her while the girl was sick, and everything went according to plan. During the meeting, Tomo gave the guy that same game console that he had completely forgotten about. Throughout his childhood, he thought that Tomo was a boy, but Tomo did not even suspect it. When they started first grade, Tomo approached a guy in a skirt, which surprised Kubota. Since then, many people thought that they were a couple because they knew that Tomo was a girl. The guy began to avoid her and Tomo did not understand his behavior at all. To get his mind off Tomo, Kubota tried to date Misuzu, and she didn't mind. She knew that it would benefit her and him, but their interests and pace of life did not completely coincide. Therefore, Misuzu decided to break off relations with him, but the guy beat her to it and did it first since he himself understood it. He still decided to come and talk to Tomo, and this surprised her. As they walked home, the girl demanded to know why he had ignored her for so long. The guy replied that there were rumors around school that they were dating and he didn't want Tomo to get in trouble, so he distanced himself from her. This made Tomo even more angry because it was just little things. In the end, they decided that they would continue to communicate and spend time together. Kubota's birthday is coming soon, so Tomo decided to earn extra money. Misuzu decided to help her and also went with her friend. Carol joined them. A classmate heard their conversation and invited all three to work in his establishment. The restaurant was experiencing temporary problems and the owner was looking for someone who could help him. They were accepted almost immediately and given uniforms. They had 3 positions at work, and each of the girls agreed to the one that suited her best. At some point, Kubota came to their work and saw Tomo at work. He was shocked by her appearance and the fact that she worked here. They had a little dialogue and Kubota said that the waitress costume suited her. They worked there for several days and at the end of the day they received their salary. Kubota met Tomo after work and they went home together. On the way, the guy said that he came to this restaurant for her to support Tomo. She was embarrassed by this, but it was the truth. For his birthday, Tomo gave him a watch. Such a gift made Kubota very happy and embarrassed. Tomo had the same watch, and it brought friends together. The girl offered to celebrate his birthday at his home, but he said that his parents wouldn't be home, so it would be best to celebrate at Tomo's house. At school, she again started asking Misuzu for advice on how she could get Kubota's attention faster. Everyone knows that tactility brings people together, and Misuzu came up with a brilliant plan. When Kubota was walking down the stairs towards Tomo, Misuzu pushed him so Tama could catch him, then they touched each other. But the guy dodged and fell right on Carol, and immediately found himself in an awkward position. Misuzu decided that this plan was too cruel, even for herself. She was ashamed of many of her actions towards Tomo, so she pulled away from him. One day, Misuzu got sick and decided to stay home. Tomo was confused by the fact that she only told Carol about this. 3 days later, Tomo visited Misuzu and even brought her gifts. Tomo said that Misuzu has been talking to Carol lately and only asked why. But Tomo did not receive an exact answer from her. She simply gave Misuzu the text with the script since they were going to stage a play at school. And when Tomo left, she said that Misuzu would be upset over little things if she really was leaving. When the girl came to school, she was angry that she was given the role of Cinderella in the play, but there was nothing to do. Everyone was preparing for the performance and learning their roles. When Misuzu was studying the script with Tomo, she noticed one thing. All this time, Misuzu was telling Tomo that she should be more feminine. But she never said that Tomo is real and all she has is her dignity, which someone will definitely appreciate. And now only Misuzu herself can fix all this. Tomo played the role of the prince, and she tried on a suit that suited her very well. After the rehearsal, Kubota and Tomo returned home, and although Kubota played the role of a tree, they decided to rehearse the words of the main characters from the script. The parents of friends came to the performance. Misuzu told her mother that there wouldn't be a play because she didn't want her to watch it. But mom came anyway and even took out a camera. They played their roles perfectly, and when Tomo came on stage, all the girls were surprised by her appearance. Everyone especially loved it when Tomo and Misuzu danced together like a prince and princess. After the performance, the guys went to the festival where they could eat delicious food and have fun. When it was time to dance, many girls approached Tomo and asked him to dance with them. But when Kubota approached, Tomo immediately agreed. They danced incredibly awkwardly and Tomo said that everyone would think they were in love with each other. And Kubota said that it was so. This was his declaration of love. Tomo was surprised by his words and immediately ran away from the event. Kubota did not understand the reason for all this and felt guilty. The next day, Tomo did not behave as usual, but was louder and friendlier. Every time Kubota tried to talk to her about his feelings, the girl avoided the conversation. At school, Tomo's friends realized that something had happened between her and Kubota. While Kubota was walking to school, Misaki came up to him and asked him what happened because he was walking sad. Kubota told Misaki everything and even asked for advice. A friend advised him to tell her everything directly and not to hint or speak in riddles, since frankness will be very appropriate. Kubota actually thought about it and thanked his friend for the advice. He then met with Misuzu and apologized to her, because he believed that dating Misuzu without feelings, just for his own benefit, was wrong. But Misuzu told him everything she thought and said that she herself was not in love with him. This is how they established their relationship with each other. He then passed a note to Tomo on behalf of an unknown person, as if challenging her to a personal meeting for a fight. He lured her to the roof and tried to talk again. He said that he remembered her confession then in the garden, and he said it was mutual. Tomo was upset that he only noticed this now, but she couldn't restrain herself and ran away again. The girl told Misuzu everything and she realized that she had ruined everything. Then Misuzu decided to talk to her frankly. The girl apologized and explained to her friend that she should not have changed and become feminine. She is already beautiful and can be loved for who she is. This confession made Misuzu even cry and advised Tomo not to miss his chance and go to Kubota. Tomo finally caught up with him and confessed her love to him. Now they were 100% sure of their feelings and each other's feelings. But now they can't be friends because they are more than friends. This question was even asked by Tomo, but Kubota did not answer anything concrete. He simply called the girl upstairs and ran up to her to catch up with him. Already at the top, the guy said that Tomo was his friend, rival, and beloved girl at the same time. And they don't have to change their relationship, but they can still love each other. After their relationship began, Kubota became calmer towards Tomo. The girl was shy all the time and enjoyed spending time with the guy. Then, on the advice of Misuzu, Tomo took Kubota to a romantic film so that they could kiss and then they would reach a new level of relationship. But the film turned out to be too adult and Tomo was embarrassed throughout the film, but Kubota still sat calmly and unshakably. After the film, they went to a cafe where they gave each other Christmas gifts. But Tomo still wanted to be closer to Kubota, and so when they decided to go home, she said that she would go to his house. They were home alone and tried to talk, but the situation between them was tense. At some point, Tomo couldn't stand it and screamed that she wanted to kiss him. But the guy admitted that he was not ready yet. And then it turned out that he talked to Tomo's family and they said that they were not against their relationship. But first he needed to fight Tomo's father. The girl was angry that now they couldn't date because of her father, and that Kubota hadn't told Tomo anything. The girl even expressed everything to her father, but the decision remained unchanged. At school, they began to communicate less often as Tomo moved away from her boyfriend and friends. The girls even decided to talk about this topic with Tomo and she told them everything. But the problem was that her father is a karate master and it is quite difficult to defeat him and the guy needs serious training. One day, Kubota stood up and told Tomo that today he would fight with her father. And at this time, Kubota unexpectedly appeared to the girl's father and even brought Tomo's mother with him, since he knew that his father was weakening in her presence. They made several attempts and the guy was defeated everywhere, but did not give up. But then Tomo burst into them and said that she would be here. Kubota said that this fight is only between him and her father, but Tomo was not going to rush into a fight between them, but was going to support and be there. And if the guy gets really bad, she will defeat her father herself. This gave Kubota strength and confidence. He still remembered the moments in which Tomo's father could have been vulnerable and in which moments he could have failed. And after some effort, he finally defeated this man. The father was furious, but they had an agreement and Kubota complied with the conditions. Tomo was very happy and hugged the guy with emotion. Left alone, they were still embarrassed for each other. But the guy got ahead of her and told her about it first. Then Tomo came over and suddenly kissed him on the lips. The guy was confused by this action, and Tomo said she was impressed that Kubota beat her father, and she promised to make a better impression on him than he did on her. With this, they agreed that they would compete to see who loved whom more.